What is trade? Trade is a fundamental economic activity that involves the buying and selling of goods, services, or financial instruments between two or more parties. It's often conducted with the expectation of mutual benefit, where each party gives up something they have in abundance or can produce efficiently to acquire something they need or desire from another party. Key characteristics of trade. Voluntary. Both parties engage in trade willingly because they expect to be better off as a result. Value exchange. It typically involves the transfer of goods or services for a value, which can be money in modern economies or other goods services, as in barter. Specialization. Trade often arises from specialization and the division of labor, where individuals, businesses, or countries focus on producing what they do best and then trade for other necessities. Scope. Trade can occur at various levels. Domestic trade within a country, e.g., retail wholesale. International trade between countries, e.g., imports and exports. Financial trade, buying and selling of stocks, bonds, currencies, e.g., stock markets, forex. What is exchange? Exchange in economics refers to the act of giving one thing and receiving another in return. It's the broader concept that underpins all economic transactions, where ownership or possession of goods, services, or assets changes hands. Key characteristics of exchange. Transfer of ownership, possession. The core of exchange is the transfer of rights over something. Reciprocity. It implies that something is given in return for something else. Mechanism. Exchange can occur through various mechanisms, including barter, direct exchange of goods for goods without the use of money. Monetary exchange, the most common form where goods or services are exchanged for money. Gift exchange, though not purely economic, it involves a transfer with an expectation of future reciprocity. Marketplace. An exchange can also refer to an organized marketplace where commodities, securities, or other financial instruments are traded, e.g., a stock exchange, a commodity exchange. What do you mean by autarky? Autarky refers to a state of self-sufficiency, particularly in an economic context. An economy in a state of autarky is one that operates without engaging in international trade or receiving external aid. A country striving for autarky aims to produce all the goods and services it needs internally, minimizing or eliminating its reliance on other nations. Key aspects of autarky. Closed economy. From an economic perspective, a fully autarkic nation is a closed economy. Self-reliance. The primary goal is independence from external economic influence. Rare in practice. Complete autarky is extremely rare in the modern globalized world, as it usually leads to lower living standards due to the loss of benefits from specialization and comparative advantage. Motivations. Reasons for pursuing autarky or near autarky can include national security, to ensure critical supplies in times of conflict. Political ideology, belief in self-reliance or rejection of global systems. Economic protectionism, extreme form of protecting domestic industries. Examples. Historically, some ancient city-states exhibited forms of autarky. In modern times, North Korea is often cited as a country that strives for a high degree of economic autarky, though it still engages in some limited trade and receives aid. Is trade and exchange the same concept in economics? If not, what's their core difference? No, trade and exchange are not exactly the same concept in economics, though they are very closely related, with exchange being the broader term. The core difference lies in their scope and focus. Exchange is the fundamental act of giving something and receiving something in return. It's the basic transaction that occurs whenever property or rights are transferred. Trade is a specific type of economic exchange that involves the buying and selling of goods, services, or financial instruments, typically within a market context. Trade implies a commercial transaction with an agreed-upon value, often monetary, and an expectation of mutual gain through specialization and comparative advantage. Think of it this way. All trade is a form of exchange. When you buy a shirt trade, you exchange money for the shirt. When countries exchange goods, international trade, they are performing an act of exchange. Not all exchange is trade. For instance, if you swap a baseball card with a friend without any money involved, that's an exchange. If someone gives you a gift, that's an exchange of an item for gratitude, social bond, but it's not trade in the economic sense of buying and selling for commercial purposes. In some contexts, like a currency exchange, the term exchange refers to the specific transaction of swapping one currency for another, which is a form of trade, but the term exchange itself is broader. In summary, exchange is the underlying mechanism of transferring value or ownership. Trade is a more specific commercial activity that leverages this mechanism for economic purposes, driven by the principles of specialization, comparative advantage, and often facilitated by money.